In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a best-selling design that can sell over 1,000 times in your Etsy shop in the next 30 days. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process for the market research side, as well as a full design tutorial inside of Canva. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to create best-selling designs for your Etsy shop. You'll understand how to properly link your Canva designs to your products inside of Inner Circle Prints. And of course, you'll understand how to manage your newfound influx of orders. So let's get right into it. All right, so the product we're going to be designing today literally has the potential to sell over 1,000 times on Etsy in the next 30 days. This is not just a clickbaity title. This is actual reality. So I want to really pinpoint this for you so you can understand how to leverage this specific design and this specific product. So the product we're going to be looking at is a teacher appreciation tumbler. Now, for those of you who don't know, teacher appreciation is a massive event on Etsy. We have so many buyers that pour into the platform looking for a personalized gift for a teacher. Now, we've literally seen sellers of ours that have sold over 1,000 items with one design for teacher appreciation. And we've seen this across numerous different sellers. So it's not just like one got lucky. There is so much demand that happens for this event, and specifically for this product type, which is a tumbler. So in order to actually make a best-selling design, we have to go through the market research process first. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to scroll through the results. We're going to analyze some of these designs, and then we're going to go ahead and jump over into Canva, and we're going to do a full design tutorial so we can make a best-selling tumbler that's going to crank over the next 30 days. All right, so I'm over here on Etsy, and I went ahead and I've searched for teacher tumbler up top to begin my market research. Now, we've got a page of results in front of us, in this case, the teacher tumbler results. We want to be focusing on these in the right manner. So first and foremost, we want to be isolating the top maybe 20 or 30 listings on the page. Now, these are the listings that are right below the Add by Etsy seller section, which you can see right here. These sellers may be selling well, but they are paying for placement to get that visibility, so we can't reference those. The ones below these products right here are going to be the ones that are ranked the best on page one, which means these are the ones that are selling the most. So once you get like maybe 20 or 30 listings down, those are going to be selling less and less and less. So we want to focus on the top 20 or 30 overall to basically be pulling the best of the best out of this market. Now, when we're looking at these top 20 or 30 listings, we want to be viewing these in the right way. There's three different things I want you to focus in on here. Number one is going to be what is being overutilized in this micro market. So overutilization is typically going to be designs that have been done multiple times over, or the same exact design attributes are deployed over and over and over again, meaning if you were to use those design attributes or use that design, you're just going to blend in with the rest of the sellers on page one. The second thing is underutilization. What is being underutilized in this micro market? So when you're looking at those top 20 to 30, you can ask yourself, is there one or maybe two designs that are doing really, really, really well that no one else is doing? And could you do something similar to that design, or could you do something to just add some additional value that would really help you stand out and not be competing against a bunch of the overutilized sellers? And then number three is going to be, where does the value sit for this micro market? So you're asking yourself, what is the most valuable aspect that I cannot waver from in order to be successful with this specific market? In this case, it is a teacher tumbler. Now, those three things together can really give you the framework to create a best-selling design, because you're staying away from what is overutilized, you're leveraging what is underutilized, and you're doubling down on what's valuable for the micro market itself. So let's go through this process for this page results in front of us right here. All right, so when going through this process, I like to personally call out what I'm seeing in the micro market. The reason why I literally call out what I'm seeing is due to the fact that I want my brain to kind of wrap around what is actually happening. Sometimes when you're looking at a micro market, it's really busy. There's a lot of different design attributes, and it can be hard to tell, okay, what should I actually do here? It looks like a bunch of everything's happening, but when you call it out, you can really zero in on what's actually happening. So I already went ahead and I already went through this process to save some time for this video, because I don't want to bore you with me calling out everything I see in the first 20 to 30 designs. But what I'd highly recommend you do is you go through this process fully for yourself, and you spend 5, 10, 15 minutes really understanding the market so you can pinpoint what is underutilized, overutilized, and most valuable. So what I'm going to do, since I already went through it, is I'm going to do a little small scroll through here, and I want to highlight some of the things I was seeing a lot of over and over again so we can identify what is overutilized, and then we'll kind of go from there. So when I'm scrolling through this, what I was seeing is this glitter style pencil design was all over the place. You can see already 3 of those style designs here. You can see as you scroll down further, there is more like here and here, as well as here. There's a lot of the glitter style pencil or pencil variations that happen all over page 1. The second one I saw a lot of is the Crayola crayon style one. So you got the big Crayola crayon here, you got the smaller Crayola crayon here, you got the other Crayola crayon, you got more right here, you got another variation right here, and even more down below. So lots and lots of Crayola crayons and pencils. So in those cases, like, I don't want to just like leverage those ones. I know that those are overutilized by far, and if I just sat with those style design attributes, I'm going to be kind of wasting my time. What I did notice as underutilized happens to be these top 2 listings right here. The retro style bubble font was not utilized on really any other listings besides these 2. And then the wildflowers were only utilized on maybe 1 or 2 other listings. So I think that these as design template ideas are really, really good. The teacher with the water flowers in the retro bubble font with personalization, I think, is a big one I want to leverage. They also happen to be the top 2 best sellers on this page. So it's telling me, hey, these ones are really working. So it's kind of resonating with my idea that I think that the retro style font with the wildflowers and the personalization is actually something that would work really well in today's market versus some of the other ones that might work well, but they are just way too overutilized. So we're going to zero in on these 2 listings. I'm going to go ahead and open these into a new tab right here. So I'm inside this first listing right here, and I want to kind of understand what are the components of their offer. Do they have variations? Do they have different options on here? Like, what are they actually doing that's allowing them to be a bestseller? In this first one right here, they really don't have anything spectacular when it comes to variations or anything else. This is literally the only actual design that they offer for this listing. I think why they're winning, though, is when looking at their price point, they have like a $15 price point with $6 shipping. So they're looking at about, $21 or so for this item. So they are really competitive when it comes to the actual price points, and they are leveraging a design that is underutilized in this market. Now, when looking at this other listing over here, this is a different variation. So this one has a little bit more traction right now. Is that it's had 20 plus views in the last 24 hours. It is the 40-ounce variation, but I think we can learn from this a lot. One thing I immediately noticed is they had the color variations on here. So if you look down here on the listing, you can actually choose different colors for it. So I'm like, boom, light bulb immediately. I could take these color variations or similar ones and pull them over and utilize them on the 20-ounce tumbler. So that's number 1 I can do there. One thing I also really liked with this one was the actual personalization. That is the font they used here. I think that using the black style font with the black outline lettering, it really ties the design together versus this other one. I feel like it was kind of separate. They have the black outlines, but then they have the more mauve colored font, which I think is a little bit off for the font selection, and the color's okay, but I think the black one actually looks sharper on this item. So I'm definitely going to leverage a font closer to this one, as well as I'm going to leverage it in black. Now, one of the first things I saw as a red flag to me when I was looking at this was like, dang, they're selling the 40-ounce version for $17, but I was quickly able to find out that is not the actual case. So we hit the drop-down menu here, and let's say we choose a different one. Let's say we choose the cream color variation. It is instantly $24.99, and if you scroll down, this is where things get extra juicy. They're shipping this for $14.40. So we're talking about a $40 tumbler, which is going to deter a lot of different buyers, and it's still a bestseller. So that gives me a lot on my side where I'm like, hey, if I utilize the same style font in black, I utilize, the color variations they're doing on the listing, and I do this for far less than $40, I think I can do pretty good in this market. Now, one thing I want to highlight here is a really awesome tool, which is Everbee. And Everbee has a Chrome extension that has a really awesome feature that they just launched. Now, I'm not sponsored by Everbee or anything like that, but they have an awesome tool, and I'd recommend using them versus any other tool in the market. If I click on Analyze Listing right here, and I scroll down, this is the new trends that they have on here, which shows you time frames throughout the year when this listing is sold the most. So if I click on the drop down here, I can see the all-time trends, which tells me they launched this item on April 3rd of 2024, which was actually right around this exact same time last year. If I click on this, here's where it gets beautiful. Do you see this giant uptick at the very beginning of their launch? Right after their launch, they started to immediately get some sales here, and then boom, the explosion happened. They peaked at 50 sales a day for this item during the ramp up to teacher appreciation. So this is exactly what I'm talking about with these explosive sales. We've seen many sellers do this with the 20-ounce variation of the tumbler and sell again 1,000 times over during this window of time. So this is the time to double down. But this tool right here is a really awesome one that Everbee has added in that you can really pinpoint for these specific designs you're looking at. Did they do extremely well for the specific verified event you are referencing? And in this case, teacher appreciation, this item went through the roof in sales. All right, so now that we have a base idea in place for our teacher tumbler design with our retro bubble font, our wildflowers, the personalization with the specific font selection and color, as well as the color variations for the actual tumbler itself, we need to now go into Canva and start this designing process. Now, before we jump into Canva and start designing for our tumbler, I want to reference something real quick. I've reached the highest levels in the POD space on Etsy with a very minimal graphic design skill set. And the way I've been able to do this is by leveraging great artwork through different platforms. So the 3 platforms that I utilize the most are going to be Creative Fabrica, Creative Market, and then Etsy itself with all of the graphic designers that are on Etsy creating artwork they can buy for a very affordable cost. So when you're going through this process, your goal is to find the attributes for your design to then pair them together and to be able to create a finalized design that's custom for your Etsy shop. And the reason why I wanted to highlight that is that someone who has great graphic design experience is not going to just be superior to you if you don't have a giant graphic design portfolio in your back pocket. So don't worry if you're like, hey, I'm not the best designer. Neither am I. I've sold hundreds of thousands of print products on Etsy. So let's jump in and let's go find some of these attributes with these 3 different platforms. So after looking at each of the different platforms of Creative Fabrica, Creative Market, and Etsy, I was actually able to find the exact design I wanted to work with on Etsy for a super affordable cost. So in this case, our design says, teach them, love them, watch them grow with the teacher and wildflower. So I thought to myself, can I just find this exact same design? Did this seller just buy this artwork? And it looks like they actually did. So let's go ahead and search this over on Etsy. So we have teach them, love them, watch them grow. PNG is what I'm going to search. So I'm searching that on Etsy to see if I can find a graphic that's going to match what I'm looking for. And lo and behold, first and foremost, bestseller right here. Teach them, love them, watch them grow. Now, you can reference some of these other ones, but in this case, I don't want to get too far away from the base design. I think it's a great one. And also to fit on the tumbler right, I think that the actual scale of this design is really proper because when you turn this 90 degrees, it's going to run up and down the entire tumbler really well. So let's go ahead and utilize this for our artwork. All right, so I'm in my Inner Circle Prints account right now so we can access the 20-ounce tumbler design template. And one thing I want to note on the front end with our 20-ounce tumblers is the reason we've been able to fulfill literally tens of thousands of these for our exclusive members is due to the fact that our price point is unmatched. The closest print provider in the space is with Printify. And even with Printify Premium, when you're paying a monthly fee for a discounted rate, there's still $9.41 more per unit for fulfillment on this exact item right here, which is why our sellers are dominating with this product. They can price their products effectively in the marketplace and maintain really solid margins so they can actually make profit in their business. So if you don't already have your Inner Circle Prints account created, make sure you head down to the link in the description below. Go get your Inner Circle Prints account created right now and start accessing this product along with all of our other strategic product types that we give access to with our fulfillment. Now, as you can see on this right-hand side right here, we just launched our 40-ounce tumbler. So you can technically use this exact same design we're about to create on both the 20-ounce and 40-ounce ones, but for the purpose of this training, we're going to double down on the 20-ounce tumbler. So let's jump back into the design template. All right, so I just clicked into the 20-ounce tumbler right here, and if you scroll down on the right-hand side, you can see the link to the design template. If we click on this right here and scroll down, you can see use template for new design. So we're going to click on that. Now, one thing I want to explain first is basically the actual setup to this template. It's really easy to understand overall. This first page right here is showing you the actual safe area, which is the full white space, and then the bleed area, which is the gray outline border right there. Basically, the safe area is for all your important elements of design that you don't want any chance of them getting cut off. You can keep them in that white safe area. And then the bleed area is for full coverage graphics, so things like patterns or prints or full color. you want to extend that edge to edge in the template. Now down below right here, it's showing you the columns left, middle, and right. So that basically is just showing you when you're positioning your elements of artwork, where the left side is, the middle, and the right side is, or think of it as a third, a third, a third, basically seeing the full 360 of the wrap itself, as this will again wrap around the entire tumbler. So we're going to utilize this in a minute to position our artwork accordingly with the teacher graphic with the wildflowers, our personalization, and then we'll fill in the background color accordingly. Now what's cool with page 2 is you can just click on it right here and then click into transparency and turn this all the way down to 0. So when you're actually doing your design, you can kind of work on this blank canvas, get everything positioned, and then once you're happy with how it looks, you can turn up this transparency, and if anything is off, you can then adjust it accordingly before you actually export your design. All right, so I took my page 2 right here, and I just turned the transparency down a lot so I can barely see the left, middle, and right, so I can kind of design over top of this, and then I'll turn it off afterwards. So we're going to go ahead and click on Uploads, and then we're going to pull this in. This is the artwork we bought over on Etsy for just about $2, so that was a really good deal to get this finalized piece of artwork. And we're going to rotate this 90 degrees right here. Now that we've rotated it, we need to reference the other seller we were looking at before to see how they actually position this on there. So you can see it pretty much goes centered down the tumbler right here. There's a little bit of space on the bottom and a little bit of space on the top, but for the most part, it covers the vast majority of the tumbler. So we're going to try to mirror that with ours as well. So let's go back over and we're going to scale this up. Okay, so now that I've scaled it up right here, I want to make sure I position it pretty centered up here, which just looks centered. Now, I'm trying to center the teacher portion of the graphic right on the middle. If you look at this tumbler right here, you can see that they've kind of centered it right on the middle of this smart object image. So I want to do the same thing with mine. So I think right in there should be good, just right about like that. We're going to go with that for now. We're going to check this in a minute with our mockup generation tool on Inner Circle Print, so we're good to go for now. Now, if we go back over to this listing, one thing I did not like about it was this font style. I think that it looks a little bit off, in my opinion, for the ideal font selection, and I really liked the font selection for this one. I think that first off, the black color was definitely good for the outline matching, so it matches the outline of this entire graphic. And then this font style is a little bit better fit for the market in 2025, so I'm going to try to find a font more like this one. Now, what's cool is in Inner Circle Prints, you get access to our font guide. Now, our coach, Jessie G, put together this entire font guide. She is an absolute wizard when it comes to graphic design. Her skill set is through the roof, but she has a bunch of pages of all these really amazing fonts selected out for you that you can utilize. So when you're inside of Inner Circle Prints, you can access our font guide, which will allow you to just pull open this page and access any of these fonts when you're looking for a specific type, whether it's, retro or script or handwriting or whatever it is. But we're going to utilize this for our design, and we're going to try to find a font that's a close match to the font in this name right here. All right, so I'm back in my font guide right here, and I'm on this script page inside of the font guide. I think that out of all these options, the closest match to this one right here is going to be one of the following. So either Twister, Moontime, Gritzy, or Brittany. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go with Brittany. I like this one a lot for this specific item, so I think this is going to work well. If it doesn't work well for any reason, I can always come back and exchange it out for a different font. But let's go ahead and head over to my design template. And over on the text icon, you can click on that and then search it. I've already typed in Brittany here, so I can add this to my template. Now that I've added it to my template, I'm going to scale it up so I can actually see it here. And whenever you are working with specific personalization, whether it's a name or a date or whatever it may be, you want to make sure you put in something relevant for the buyer. So in this case, I'm going to put Miss Johnson. I feel like Miss Johnson will resonate with anyone buying something for a teacher. I think it's relevant overall. So we're going to go ahead and type that in and see if it's a good match with this font type. So I do think it's a great match for this specific font type, so I'm really happy with it overall. I'm going to go ahead and click on this background now, though, and I'm going to turn the transparency all the way down so I'm not distracted by this while I go ahead and scale this up. Now, what I need to check is I need to check the actual size and scale of this font over here on this tumbler. So this one stretches all the way top to bottom. I think it's a little bit overblown in my opinion. This one right here is sitting kind of inside of the teacher design a little bit, so that's not bad overall. I think if I do a happy medium between the both, I think that I'm going to get a really good outcome here. So I'm going to go ahead and scale that up accordingly. So I went ahead and I've scaled this up accordingly. I turned it to 90 degrees. I think I have it right where I want it, just kind of right inside of the top part of the teacher and the bottom part of the teacher, but not overextending it at all. And so I like that scale, but now I need to make sure I'm positioning right. So I need to click on this background and we're going to turn the transparency back up so I can see this. So now that I've turned this up, I can now position it within this column a little bit better. So you can see I'm centered on the middle, which is great. So I'm centered on that teacher design, but I need to just be kind of cheated over, maybe right about there. I think that looks about right overall. Let me turn down the transparency once again. All right, so that looks pretty good overall. So with this being said, I think I need to grab this artwork. I'm going to go ahead and add a page. I'm going to take away that full gray background. We're going to go ahead and click on this one, hold shift, click on our other one, and copy it. And then from there, we can paste it down below. And we're going to go ahead and download this and go into Inner Circle Prints and upload it into the mockup generation to make sure everything is scaled out correctly. So to do this, we are going to go ahead and go over to the share button and click on download. From there, we can see we have the right size in place according to the Inner Circle Prints catalog, which is right here. So if we go back over, we're going to go ahead and click on transparent background, and then we just want page 3 that we just did right here where there's nothing behind the actual graphic. We'll click done and download. While this is downloading right here, we're going to go ahead and go back over to Inner Circle Prints. And on this catalog right here, we can click on this upload graphic and create thumbnail right here. When we click on this, it's going to pull in our actual mockup so we can add this in. Now, this is showing a real-time view of our actual print area with exactly where the artwork will be placed. So if you click on this plus button and then add this one in, you're going to see that it's going to generate an actual preview. So now we want to check right now for placement before we do anything else with this design. We are going to go and jump into doing some colors in a second, but before we do any colors, we want to make sure the placement is correct. So it looks like, yes, the placement's looking really good overall. The teacher's running straight down the middle of this. And then the placement of the name over here also looks really good centered on the tumbler. I like this style of the font much better. Now, we might use a different front photo than this one. I think that we can use one that's a little bit more compact in, like this photo shows here with the tumblers a little bit closer together. But for overall placement for this to be printed, it looks really good. So I'm really happy with the outcome for this one. Now, one thing I want to note on this left-hand side is whenever you bring a graphic in, this is the actual print area, this blue outline here. So if you move anything within that print area, it's going to show basically what is going to be cut off, what's actually going to be visible. So you'll get a real-time update on the right-hand side when you're positioning here. And you also are able to center it just like on Canva. You'll see the arrows kind of align for you when things are centered. It's going to print properly. So just one thing to note, you can move within the printable area and you can size up or size down and get everything positioned exactly how you want for your artwork before you actually add your design and generate thumbnail. Now with this, we're not going to do this yet. We're going to go ahead and make our color variations. Once we make our color variations, we're going to fully make this product in Inner Circle Prints and fully launch it over on Etsy so we can start generating those sales for Teacher Appreciation Week. All right, so I took a quick break to show you, as your fulfillment partner, the beautiful teacher tumbler we have inside this box right here. So we're going to go ahead and open this up, do a live unboxing here, and be able to take a look at this item now that we have our design set up. So this is our beautiful, let me make sure I have this set up right, our beautiful teacher tumbler. It's all shadowy. Sorry, guys. There we go. Beautiful teacher tumbler. We have the teacher, the wildflowers, and then we have Miss Johnson right on the back side. You can see this is straight from the mockup generation to then in real life. We got this beautiful slide top lid here. We got the silica ring around that helps stop the leakage. And yeah, this is a great quality tumbler overall. I just wanted to kind of show you guys what this bad boy looks like and how beautiful it comes out with our print quality. I mean, our print quality is superior on these bad boys because we fulfilled tens and tens of thousands of these. So I'm going to show you a little hack that you can do for some color matching whenever you're trying to reference a specific color and actually bring it into Canva. If I add a page down below here and I go over to this listing, I can actually just go to the variations they have right here shown in this photo, and I can take a screenshot of this entire setup here. So I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And then if I go over to my Canva file, I can drag and drop this in, and now I have some pieces to use the eyedropper tool on. So if I then duplicate this page again so I keep my standard artwork in place, I can technically go in, click this background, click on the color, and then go to here to change the color and use the dropper tool to be able to change it to any of these colors that I want right here. Now, what I believe the seller did was they have specific, colors that are kind of base, like the purple, the blue, the cream, and the more mauve peach color. I think these are more of like standard colors that they have, and I don't think they actually are the best color variations for this specific tumbler. I think that we could do even better. So I'm going to use my kind of knowledge bank I have of the right colors and tones that work for the ideal buyer in the tumbler market, and I'm going to make some different color variations that maybe have some of these other ones in place. One other piece I want to reference before we make our own color variations is you can scroll down and click into the reviews on this item right here, and you can scroll down and see the specific photos of it. So you can see like which variations are selling the most. You can see like here's a white one, another white one, another white one. There's a black one. There's white, cream. It looks a little bit yellow. Cream, that looks super yellow. That's weird. Cream, 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 purple. Even though it looks pink. See, this is interesting. Okay, that's really interesting. We got some weird colors going on here, but you can see that white and cream are clearly the top two that have sold the best based on the reviews. And then we have purple right here, but I don't know if that doesn't even look purple. That looks pink to me. But anyways, it doesn't matter. We're going to make our own color variations anyways that we think are going to be a better match for the market. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage definitely the white. I'm going to leverage the cream. And then I'm going to also do a pink color, maybe a little bit lighter tone. And then there is that kind of green in the actual design itself. So I think if we do like a light sage green, I think we're going to have 4 really strong color variations that are going to be even a better fit for this market. So let's jump back into Canva and get these color variations rocking. All right, so we're back over in Canva. And like I said, I don't think I really like these colors that they have. It's not always just my preference, but I think, again, the reason why they're leveraging these colors is because they have those as their base color of the tumbler, and they're just adding the design on top of it. So while this color might work, I think I can get a little bit more accurate with better fit colors for the market. Now, do what you want here. You can use different color variations. You can use even more than just the 4 I'm going to do. But with that being said, I'm going to change these up. So we're going to go ahead and click on this background once more and click into the color. And I'm going to use the eyedropper tool to actually drop into the design itself. So I'm going to grab more of a pinkish peach color here. Now you can see as soon as I use the eyedropper tool, that is way too, cohesive with what's already there. So it's bleeding everything together because it's literally the same color. So now we're going to take this and we're going to lighten it up to the range that we actually want here to get the good fit color for the actual background. Now I want to go way more on the light end of the spectrum with this. I want it to be kind of just a little bit kind of flared that direction. I think the more light, subtle colors in the space are what really allow for conversion. You don't want it to be, over bold all these times when there's already a colored graphic in place, like this teacher graphic. It has, an orange, a green, a yellow, a pink on there. You don't want to go too aggressive with the color in the background. So we want that teacher graphic to still pop, but we want the background to be nice and cohesive with it. So I think this lighter range is a better look here. I'm going to go ahead and do the same process for the green version as well as the cream version. And I'm going to show you all 4 of my design variations in just a second. All right, so I loaded in all 4 of my colors here. I got my white variation. I have my cream variation, which looks a lot better towards cream than the actual yellowy cream they had there before. I think their listing photo showed one thing, and then the actual item itself was a lot different. So that was actually one thing I saw when I was looking through the reviews here, that they were concerned that the cream was turning out yellow and not actually cream. So I think we got a better cream in place. Then we have that kind of mauve, pinky, peach color here. I think this looks really good on there. And then we have our sage green, which is a good light kind of background color to this. So I think we've done a great job with this design, keeping things simple. We have the teacher graphic in place with the wildflowers and the retro bubble font. It works really well, but I do think it is underutilized overall. We have the value doubled down on with Miss Johnson over on the right-hand side with a better color font that matches the outline there with an actual proper font in place that I think will resonate with the buyer a little bit better. And then we have our background variations. We have, again, the white, the cream, the pink, and the green, which will allow us to add extra value for this market, especially with the other 40-ounce version, which is literally $40. So if someone's trying to buy a cost-effective teacher appreciation gift, they're going to choose this one probably all day long because they're going to be able to get it for like nearly half the price. So I think we have a good setup here. So now we need to bring this over into Etsy as well as Inner Circle Prints so we can make sure we get this bad boy launched onto the platform, and then we make sure we have fulfillment set up for all of our variations inside of Inner Circle Prints, and we can manage this whole process with ease because we're about to have lots and lots of orders coming our way. Now, one thing I want to note here with the process of, your Etsy listings and Inner Circle Prints is I highly recommend you always start on the platform of Etsy first, and you actually, launch your item on Etsy, and then you link it back to Inner Circle Prints fulfillment. Now, the reason being is as soon as you have your first listing live for a product type like a tumbler in this case, you can just go ahead and hit the drop down and hit copy listing every single time you go to make a new listing. With this approach, you're going to retain all of your listing information. So things like your description that you can reuse, your price points, things like your materials list. You'll have, your materials down here as well, your shipping profile. You'll have a bunch of information that you don't have to retype in every single time. So we highly suggest that you always link your products rather than launching them from Inner Circle Prints. Again, you can launch them from ICP, but we recommend going this method to save yourself a lot of time and effort in the listing process. All right, so I put together a basic listing for this product over here on Etsy. Now, one thing I want to note here is this training is not intended to go deep into titles and tags and, photo optimization and all of that. It's really to focus you in on the design aspect for this and then taking that design and making variations and connecting them to ICP properly. So if you want help with things like titles and tags, you can go reference other videos on my channel. But for this one, we're going to just use this listing here and we're going to set up our design variations correctly on the product and then link everything back to Inner Circle Prints. All right, so we're inside of this listing, and I'm going to show you how to add in personalization for the custom name on this tumbler, as well as the design variations with the different colors we have offered. And then we're going to go ahead and link everything back to Inner Circle Prints to make sure we're connected for fulfillment. Now, first off, if we scroll down below the description, there is the personalization right here. If you click on the Add Personalization button right here, you can basically put in instructions for the buyer. Now, whenever you do this, you want to be as detailed as necessary to make sure that the buyer is actually going to provide the details that you need, depending on your personalization. In this case, I'm going to go a little bit extra and throw in one piece which can help as a newer seller to convert this potential buyer. So I've already typed this out, so I'm going to paste this in. Now, what I said was, please type the name you'd like on the tumbler, example, Miss Johnson. If you have any special requests, please message us directly, and we'd be happy to help with a smiley face. Now, with this portion down here, one thing I want to kind of caution you with is that Etsy buyers can get really, really custom. So this is only something I would do if you're trying to get your first handful of sales. After you start getting some good sales momentum, you could remove this from your personalization, but this can definitely help with conversion early on. They might be like, hey, I'd like to add a heart in at the end of the name, or hey, I would like to put in a special little message or something like that. So it's always good to try to go above and beyond to help the customer here. Again, like I said, especially when you're trying to get your first sales. So I got that added in. Now, if we scroll down a little bit further, right below the quantity, you're going to see the variation section. And when you click on the variations button, you're going to see this kind of pop up right here. Now, we're going to click on create your own right here. I always like to add in my own name for the actual variation. In this case, we're going to do design color. Now, you can name this however you want. For me, I'd say design color is great. Now, our options are going to go down below right here. We have 4 different options. We have the white. We have the cream, we have the pink, and then we have the green. So we're going to add those in right there. Now that we've added these in, we're going to go ahead and click on done. So now that you have your different color variations added in up top, you can see we have white, cream, pink, and green. You can decide if you want to turn on SKUs or not. Now I'm going to show you how to manage this with SKUs and without SKUs. You don't technically have to have this for this setup with how ICP is built. It actually makes it really easy to manage your orders. But again, we're going to show both. So I am going to turn on SKUs in this scenario, and we're going to go ahead and click apply. So since we turned on SKUs, we can name them here. Now, what I'd recommend doing is naming them something really simple. If you do have SKUs set up, I'm going to name this one teacher white, teacher cream, teacher pink, and teacher green. So I have all of those added in, so I'm ready to go. And I can go ahead and click on Publish Changes. All right, so now that I have that listing set up in Etsy with those design variations, I also have Inner Circle Prints opened up in the right-hand side here on the Tumblr catalog. And then I also have my design file set up here as well. I can now create this product fully inside of ICP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to name this one. This is my teacher Tumblr in this case. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click into the mockup generation tool again so I can pull in the graphic and generate a thumbnail for internal purposes inside of Inner Circle Prints. So I'm going to click into here and I'm going to add in my base design variation, which is my white variation. Once this is loaded in, I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Design and Generate Thumbnail right here. And we're going to go ahead and render that mockup for you. Once your mockup is rendered, you're going to see it now in place of that image up top. So we have the right image in place. We have the teacher template for the title. We're going to go ahead and remove this because we don't want this graphic saved to the product because this is a personalized, graphic. Most of the time, the people ordering are not going to be named Miss Johnson, whoever's receiving it. So we need to go ahead and take away that graphic, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to link our actual design file. Now, this is the beauty of Inner Circle prints. If you have a Canva design or a Kindle design or whatever it may be, you can link it right to Inner Circle prints. So in this case, we have our Canva design right over here with all 4 variations inside of it. So all we need to do is copy this URL up top, and we're going to go ahead and go back to Inner Circle prints, and we're going to paste that in here. So now this Canva file is going to be associated with this product whenever it sells or whenever we need to access it, which will make our life a lot easier. Now, over on the right-hand side, we need to go ahead and link this over to Etsy. So to do that, I'm going to go back over to Etsy, and I'm going to go click into this listing. And you'll see at the very end of this listing up here is a long number. If you just double click there, that is the product listing ID. And that's the only information you need to link back to Inner Circle prints to connect this. So we're going to copy this, and we're going to go over here and we're going to paste it in to the link to Etsy location. So now that we've done that, we have our base product set up, and we click the Add to Products button right here. And now that we've added it to our products, you can see up top, you can see product created successfully and linked to Etsy successfully. So we can see we have both of them done properly. Now, if we navigate over to our products tab, we can see right here we have our teacher tumbler in front of us. Now, these 3 dots allow you to do some different functionality right from here without clicking into the product. You can see that we're already linked up to Etsy, so this is grayed out. We can't actually launch it over to Etsy, but we can link, additional Etsy SKUs. We can unlink the product right here. We can do a lot of different basic functionalities just from here, but we're going to go ahead and click into the product itself to make some further edits. So now that we've clicked into the product right here, if we scroll down below, we can always make edits to the name of the product. We could re-render the front image if we want. If we ever change to the design, we can swap out the URL. You can do all edits you need to do here. If you ever use Hello Custom in the future, you can assign this to Hello Custom. But right now, I'm going to show you how to link the Etsy SKUs. Now, in this case, because my design file has all 4 variations right in there, I have the white, the cream, the pink, and the green. I technically don't have to have SKUs on this item because if one sells, the buyer has to choose the variation I set up, and then I can just access my file that's right here and then download the corresponding page based on the color they've chosen. But if you do want to separate these out and you're like, hey, I want to have one design file for my white, my cream, my pink, and my green, so you have 4 separate files, you absolutely can do that. It's just a little bit more work. So I'll show you how to actually go about that process with SKUs. So we're going to go back to Inner Circle Prints, and you can say link Etsy SKU right here. When you do this, you can see the product listing ID this is associated with, which is the one we've linked it to. We're going to add in all 4 SKUs right here, so we have them all set up. So we've added them in. Now, what I highly recommend doing here is always making sure you copy and paste from Etsy over. You never want to make a mistake and accidentally link the wrong SKU or name it wrong or whatever it may be. We will throw an error at you if there's no SKU associated with it or if it is a duplicate, but it's always good practice to make sure you're setting up things correctly. So we're going to go back into this teacher tumbler, and we're going to scroll down to our SKUs. And for the white one, we're going to copy this and paste it in here. And then we're going to do the same thing for the next 3. So now that we've added in all 4 of our Etsy SKUs here, we can either add in an image. If it was a non-personalized graphic, we could add in the design file here, or we can link in separate design URLs for each of them, or we can assign them to Hello Custom. So you pretty much have any option you want to do with these SKUs. In this case, I'm going to keep things simple, and I'm just going to use this one URL to make my life easy, and I'm going to go ahead and paste them in here. Now, again, if you were to use the same URL, there's no need to set up the SKUs, but again, I just wanted to show you how to do this process in case you have designs that require different URLs for different SKUs. Once everything is all set in here, all you need to do is click on Link Product SKU right here, and you'll see a notification if it works. As you can see now, all 4 of them have been linked, and you are good to go. So now that they've been linked, you can actually see the different SKU names right here. So you can see Teacher Cream, Green, Pink, and White added in, and then you can actually go straight to the specific link with the open graphic button. As you know, all 4 design variations are right here because I just used the one URL. But again, if you needed to, for whatever reason, send them to a specific URL, you can do that right here and then check your work afterwards. So now that we have everything set up inside of Inner Circle Prints how we want here, I'm going to go ahead and place a test order on this, and we're going to go ahead and interact with the orders tab so you can actually understand how to manage this now that the listing is set up properly on both Etsy and Inner Circle Prints as well. All right, so I'm over in my orders tab inside of my Inner Circle Prints account now, and I want to run through these real quick before I actually fetch this order from Etsy, which is where I place the test order on. So with this being said, we have your all orders tab, your on hold, processing, in production, fulfilled, and refunded. So you can see basically where your order is at in the process. Now, anything with edits on the order, it needs to be done in your on hold orders tab. So when I go ahead and click this fetch orders from Etsy button, it's going to pull right into this on hold tab here. Now, when we pull an order in from Etsy, you're going to see some important information displayed right away on the order card. In the top left, you have access to clicking right onto the order number, which sends you to that order right on Etsy, which is nice if you have to look into any other additional information or contact the buyer. You can also see, when the order date was. So when this order was placed, you can make sure you're on time with processing this order. You can see the approval date once you do approve this item. You can also see the tracking ID, which is automatically binded to the order as soon as you approve it on Inner Circle Prints, so you don't have to do a thing. Up top, you can add items to the order, whether it's from your catalog or the products page that you have. You can add whatever you want to the order. If the buyer did make adjustments and said, hey, I want this as well, whatever it may be, you can always add or swap things out. If you need to edit the shipping address, you can do that here. You can also delete the order entirely if the buyer did cancel, so you can do that there. And then, of course, you can upgrade to priority mail shipping right here. Now, down below it is all of the important information when it comes to the actual item that was ordered. So everything we set up with the product before, this is where it shines. So you have the ability with the design link or graphic right here, you have the ability to go right to that Canva design or Kindle design. In this case, it's a Canva one. You can see the Canva logos associated with this saying, hey, you don't have a finalized graphic yet. You have a link. You need to make sure you have a finalized graphic added in. So you can edit that here, which we'll do in a minute. You can also over here see exactly what the buyer chose. So we pull in the variations. You can see we named it design color, and the buyer chose pink in this test order. Personalization box, you can see it's pulled straight from Etsy. It says Miss Jones is what they chose for this one. And then for the actual actions bar over here, if you click on this right here, you can actually generate a mock-up preview, so you can add in that finalized graphic once you do make the edits and check for placement. Or if you just want to do that a little bit quicker, you can just, add the design file in here and not check it with the mock-up generation if you are confident with the actual design itself and the placement of everything with your design. So with this, let's go ahead and click on this edit graphic button here. And we are over on our Canva file that we associated with this product. Now, this buyer chose pink, and they chose the name Miss Jones. So I'm going to go ahead and, for good practice, once again, we're going to go back to Inner Circle Prints, and I'm going to copy this because this is straight from Etsy. So we always want to copy and paste things in with personalization. It'll really help avoid any errors. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that in right here. Now, I think that looks great as it sits. So we're going to go ahead and leave that. If I needed to make any other edits like reposition or whatever, I would, but I think I'm actually happy with that placement. So I'm going to go ahead and hit File, Download, and I'm going to do page 3 because I want that pink variation I just edited here. And let's go ahead and say Done and Download. Now, while this is downloading, I'm just going to go right back to Inner Circle Prints. Click on the Mockup preview. So if I want to actually check the placement of this, which I highly recommend doing for your first handful of orders for a product type, once you're comfortable with the template, you don't have to check the Mockup preview every single time. You can speed things up by just going straight to the Upload Finalized Graphic button, which is what our high volume sellers do, and just throw your design file in there and you'll see it pop up in the Finalized Graphic portion. But we're going to go ahead and do the Mockup preview for this, and we're going to add in that Mrs. Jones design file we just added in. So you can see it's right down here. I'm going to click open and it's going to load this in. So we're just going to check for placement and make sure we're happy with the full setup. And then once we're happy with the setup here, we're going to go ahead and click on add finalized graphic. So I am happy with the placement with that. So I'm going to click on that button. Now, Inner Circle Prints is creating that finalized print file that we just went ahead and ran through the mockup generation. It's going to add it to the order. So our order has been updated successfully. We can see that now that we've added that graphic in, you can actually click onto it to preview it at a full size if you need to check for any, minor personalization or small components to it. If you needed to swap things out, you can either go back into the mockup preview and rerun that process, or you can just upload a finalized graphic right here for a quicker use. And then one more thing I want to note with the orders on the bottom, we actually pull in the note to seller from the buyer on Etsy. So if there is a note added in, we highlight it in blue. We make sure it's emphasized on the order so that you don't miss it. Once you're happy with everything on the order and you are ready to go, all you need to do is click on the approve order button and you can see the total breakdown of what you're going to be charged. So in this case, it's just one tumbler. So it's $15.50 for the product plus shipping. You can also do this with multiple orders. If you go up here and you hit select all, let's say you had like 10 orders you just made edits on, you can go ahead and edit them all, select them all, see the breakdown before you approve the orders of what you're going to be charged, and then you can click on that approve button. But in this case, we're just going to go ahead and go back to here and approve this one item. All right, so if you are ready to start watching your sales explode for Teacher Appreciation Week, make sure you get your Inner Circle Prints account created right now. The link is in the description below. You can start launching teacher tumblers immediately from this training and watch your very own teacher tumblers start to crank on the platform. The next 30 to 45 days on Etsy are going to be electric for this product type and this specific event. So don't miss out on this opportunity. It is going to be massive like it is every single year. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video and let's grow, baby.